Good morning, everybody. Uh, I'm going on part two of my little book review. My book, my story, and my destiny, by myself truly, Jimmy Rivera. That was the soft cover I just showed you. This is a hard cover. Okay, just like I did in my first video. The letters will probably be backwards on the video, but anyway, if you're interested, let me know. If not, just order. You don't have to really let me know. But I recommend the soft cover because you get it in a few days, but it's much cheaper. The hardcover, it takes about a month. I don't know why. I have a running joke, and anybody who knows me, I'm full of corny jokes. But my joke is basically telling everybody the book is selling so good that Amazon ran out of paper and ink. My friend Tony, he commented that they ran out of crayon. So anyway, it took me over a year to write this book. I'm not a professional writer, so bear with me. But that's my story. We all have one. And I want to read an excerpt. Yesterday I read chapter 1. I want to concentrate on chapter 2. The first chapter was about my father, which I entitled it Papi. And this chapter, I entitled it simply Mommy, with all the love that I have for my parents who are resting in peace. I dedicated a chapter to them. I did say earlier in my first video that when I realized I was writing my book, that you can write many books about your life. I crammed all this on 470 pages and realized that I left so much out of my life. And probably if you were to do the same thing, which I highly recommend, I can show you how if you reach out to me. You're going to find also the same thing, that you can write books and volumes on your own life. But just to say, it may be 470 pages, but about 15% of it is pictures. I think I overdid it with the pictures. If I ever write a second part, I'm going to go ahead and cut down on the pictures. It was turning into a photo album. So, but my inexperience, okay? People that have read it, they say it's a very good book, very well written. You be the judge. Let me not prolong this any longer, and I'm going to start with chapter 2. And I'm reading excerpts. I'm reading certain parts of the chapter, and I'm not reading the whole chapter, so bear with me. In 1963, my parents made a trip to Puerto Rico and took me with them to visit family. It was the first time I met my mother's sisters and cousins from Puerto Rico. I was only 10 years old at the time, but what really impressed me was the trip we did during the night to a town called Sabana Grande. We went to a place called La Virgen del Pozo, where legend has it the Virgin Mary visited. People will go there to receive miracles for their ailments or injuries. As we drove up to this place, I remember following a road inside that was decorated with bright lights on both sides of the road. It gave you the impression of driving through a rosary. Inside were pictures of people who were sick or handicapped in some way. Wheelchairs and canes were donated, indicating that these people were healed. My mom walked with her cane towards the stream of water that was rumored was blessed. I don't know if she drank the water or applied it to her leg. All I remember is that from that day on, because of her determination and hard physical, bear with me, therapy, she did not need a cane or wheelchair ever again. I believe she left the cane at this holy place. As a teenager, I got myself in trouble a few times. Growing up in public housing was not easy. You had the usual dangers, drugs, gangs, and being careful what neighborhood you walked in might get you jumped or robbed. One day I was engaged in a snowball fight with a few friends at my junior high school. At that precise time, there were 2 high school kids from Stewart Park High School hanging out in front of our school. They started crossing the street towards me. They walked up to me and accused me of hitting them with a snowball. I knew for a fact that it wasn't me, as I denied the fact I looked to my left. One of them sucker punched me. I remember falling to the floor. I tried to get up, but I fell back and passed out. I woke up with my mother and sister cleaning the blood gushing out of my nose. I don't remember how I got home. My mother was so upset and kept asking me who did this. I tried to explain what happened to me, but I was groggy and felt like passing out again. The next thing I know, she went and grabbed a hammer and went out the door and started heading to the school. Now let me say something, don't mess with your baby. You know what parents are capable of doing if you hurt their children. Thank God she did not find the guy that did this to me. Early in 1968, I was with my mother when my father broke the news that we were moving to Puerto Rico. I could still remember how excited she was about going back home to her beloved island. My father had saved enough money from the Spanish food stand and was able to buy a house in Puerto Rico. Yeah, listen to this. Back then, for $13,000 cash, he had rented it to his family after he bought it. Excuse me. So at the beginning of July 1968, I found myself taking a flight to Puerto Rico with my mother, my sister Suni, and her two daughters, Monica, age 5, and Debbie, age 3, and her son Mario Jr., who was about 1 year old. We were picked up at the airport by Aunt Juji and her husband Jing and my cousin Cucho. I rode back with my cousin to the town of Jauco to my aunt's house. She was my mother's sister. We were to stay there for at least a day or two until we ventured out to see the house my father bought. Mind you, me and my mom never saw the house. We spent the day with family and catching up to all the family gossip. I was excited to be there, but I was in a hurry to get to see our new house. Finally, the time came and we got into the car for a 5-minute car ride. The house was a small 1-level 3-bedroom house at the corner of the street. It was white and blue with a small backyard and carport, typical of the houses of this housing complex. The important thing was that now it was home sweet home. No more public housing on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, but a house we can call our own. In the next few days, my mom started to weed out all the grass in the backyard and started to plant the fruits and vegetables of the island, plus flowers in the front to beautify the home. On some days, we visited family and went to the beach. My cousin Cucho, who picked me up and showed me the western and southern side of the island. I was only 15, but that would not stop him from taking me to every beach bar he knew. He would take me home every night a little drunk. My mom would not tell him anything. Maybe she thought it would make me a man. I don't know. All I knew was that I was having the time of my life. My cousin Cucho said that he did this because my brother showed him a good time when he visited New York. It was his way of paying them back. My mother enrolled me at the local Catholic church, which I started to hate. I missed New York, my friends, my city life in general. I felt like I did not belong. I was reminded in subtle ways that I was a New York-Rican and not native to the island. I struggled in school. I know broken Spanish, what we like to say, we spoke Spanglish. I understood the language, but my command of the Spanish language was lacking. Plus, I could not read it or write it. I was not a happy camper. My sister had left with the kids and took a flight back to New York. 2 days later, being a typical teenager, I had a big argument with my mother. I told her that I did not want to be there. I related to her that I wanted to go back to New York. I was selfish and was only thinking of myself. At 15 years old, I did not appreciate the sacrifices made by my parents, a typical teenager. Excuse me, folks, I just got allergies. On August 30, 1968, early that morning, my mother tells me she's taking me to school. I looked at her strangely, thinking to myself, why? In New York City, I've been going to school by myself since first grade. She put on a pretty dress and makeup and made arrangements with my neighbor to drop us off at school. We arrived at the school. My mother inquired that she wanted to see the principal of the school, or in this case, was the head nun. I don't remember her name. I wish I did. Mind you, my mom was meeting her for the first time. Well, after the usual pleasantries, how are you? I'm doing fine, etc. Then my mom bluntly said, I offer you my son. I looked at my mom with that expression on my face that said, are you abandoning me to the school? The head nun had that same expression on her face. The bell rang and I had to line up before assembly. That was the last time I saw my mom again. Everyone gathered in their particular class. Boys with boys and girls with girls. We sang the national anthem and the Puerto Rican national anthem. Once that was done, we went up to our classrooms. Later that morning, at about 10 a.m., I was motioned to leave the classroom by my teacher. I saw my Uncle Jing outside the classroom. He was very quiet and looked a little distressed. All he told me was that he was picking me up. I don't know why, but my instincts told me my mom was dead. I was afraid to ask my uncle why he was picking me up. He was quiet and not talking to me. He drove me to one of his distant relatives I never met. When we got there, my Aunt Judy, my mother's sister, was already there. This lady I never met told me to sit down. She sat next to me. She started talking. To this day, I cannot tell you what she was saying. I started crying as soon as she started to speak. She continued, but I did not hear a word she said. I found out later what happened. After she left me at the school, she walked to a supermarket located inside the town of Jalco. She bought some groceries. The manager of the store asked her if she needed help with the groceries. She told him no. So she started walking by herself with the heavy groceries to her sister's house in the hot sun. Anyone who has ever driven on the highway heading west will see the town of Jalco on the right. The heart of the town is located on a mountain. So if you're walking and wanting to visit someone who lives in the town of Jalco, you will find yourself at any given time walking uphill or downhill. My mother finally arrived at my aunt's house. Right away, she told her sister that she was not feeling well. They went to see the doctor. As the doctor was examining her, she got a heart attack and died right there. She died right there in his office. I'm gonna leave it at that. There's more, of course. But that's a part of the story of my mother, which I titled it Mommy. In the last video, if you want to check it out, go in my profile. I talk about my father, which I named Bobby. I will try to continue to do this every day. I'll pick a chapter, and once I go through the whole book, every chapter, I might go back and read excerpts of parts that I didn't read. In my book, I talk about my days in high school. I talk about meeting my wife, Maria. I talk about meeting my first wife in South Korea when I was stationed there. I talk about Vietnam. I dedicate 2 chapters to Vietnam. And I left all the graphic details out. That's not my purpose, but I just wanted to show you what it feels like to experience being a soldier in the infantry in the jungles of Vietnam. I hope I did it justice. I hope you enjoy it. Plus, I write about when I participated in honoring the 65th Infantry Regiment, the Borinqueniers. I talk about Hurricane Maria, me being involved in a very small way with hurricane disaster relief. I talk about my heart attack. I talk about my wife's breast cancer operation. On and on. The story continues. Again, if you're interested and you want to know a little bit about me, go in and purchase my book. Soft cover is only $14.95. You get it in a few days. I did raise the price of the hardcover just to force people to buy the soft cover one. Okay. But if you're the type of person that only likes hardcover books, okay, this is what I'm willing to do. If you tell me, Jimmy, I want to purchase the hardcover book because I like those better, message me and I will lower the price just for you, okay? But let me know first. Again, thank you for listening to me. I hope I didn't rattle on long. I intend to do this every day. I want to put it on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to make my channel grow. I use my YouTube channel to basically promote my entrepreneur type business that I'm doing at the time called Live Good. But anyway, I'm using it also now to promote my book. Like and subscribe on my channel. It helps me out. And again, God bless everybody. Thank you. It's a beautiful fall day, even though it's going to rain later on, but it's okay. Water's life. So thank you and God bless. And I hope that you enjoy the excerpt of my book. I would appreciate comments. So let me know any criticism, constructive criticism, or if you like it, let me know. I want honesty. Thank you and God bless.